Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's listening right now in the podcast. It is Saturday, December the 7th, 2024. I wanted to come here and speak to you guys about this case that I thought it was very crazy. But before I continue, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has been subscribing on YouTube, and thank you to everybody who's listening right now using Spotify. Please don't forget to follow me on Spotify, so every time I create a new episode, you get a notification. Thank you so much, everybody. Supporting this channel and supporting the podcast really helps me as a creator. But today, guys, like I said, this case, when I first heard it, I was like, here we go again. This is not the first time this has happened. But by the way, I do have to give you a trigger warning. It could be very morbid, what I'm going to speak to you guys about. So if you're sensitive to topics like this about somebody dying and things like that, maybe this is not the episode that you want to listen to or watch. But when I heard about this, I was like, this is it goes it almost goes hand in hand with like the demonic too. So there is a woman in Tanzania, a Tanzanian woman who kept the body of her pastor in her home, for a couple months after he passed, because he had said to her before he fell ill that if something happened to him, that he would have died, he will resurrect again. Right? And as you guys know, as believers in Christ, we know that we're going to be reunited the minute we die. We're going to be reunited once again in heaven with Jesus, right? But this case is bizarre because this woman, her name is Agnes. I'm going to read to you guys more information, but the brief of the story is basically this. This woman was caring for her ill pastor in Africa, right? And after caring for him, he went to the hospital, got discharged. She took him home to care for him, and he apparently passed in her house, right? But she didn't really reach out to anybody, and it wasn't until the children of the pastor, went looking for him to bring him food, and they forced their way into the room that she was caring for this pastor, that they realized that the body that was there was so obviously of somebody who already had passed, and the body was already decomposing in a large state. So here's the thing with that, right? That's the part that I think is a little crazy, because I don't want to offend anybody. I understand that God does miracles and all of that. I understand that. But even so, if God says, if she heard clearly from the Lord, or she said, I was just doing, like she said, she was just doing what the pastor wishes were, right? But here's the thing though. If that's really what God wanted, to keep the body, not bury him and all of that, like the miracle of resurrection would already happen. And hear me out, because we all know the process of when somebody dies, right? And how long it takes for the body, the spirit leaves the body and all of that, but the body is gonna do, the process, right? We're all gonna get there, right? But our spirit leaves, and then you have the body that stays here, right? I don't want to get too deep into that, but what I'm basically saying is 2 months this lady was waiting for the body to be resurrected. You guys can only imagine. Like I said, that's why I give you a warning in the beginning. You can only imagine the smell and all of that. And this is the point that I think it became a little demonic, or probably more demonic. I don't even know how to describe it, because why will, like I said, if the miracle was to happen, why, like God knows the process. He is the one who created us, right? So like, I don't understand. These are some of these stories that you hear about, and you kind of like have to read about it again to understand this actually happened. Like somebody actually thought about this. And one thing is to walk by faith, right? Like I said, believing that God will do the miracles. But like, like there is a fine line that it's just, it becomes this extreme type of radical. I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm sure you guys can understand that. It's like saying, I have faith that God's gonna protect me for whatever situation I'm going through in my life, and then deciding to stand in the middle of traffic, right, on the road, just walking up to her and standing in the middle of traffic. That's not really faith. That's just basically being stupid, right? So God doesn't call us to be stupid, okay? And I'm not saying that this is the case here, but I'm saying I'll just give you that example, right? One thing is to believe that by faith, and to know that I'm like all over the mic, and to know that God is gonna protect you, but you also, he wants you to be wise and ask for wisdom. Okay, so this is where we have to, there's a fine line. So let me read to you briefly the story. Well, I basically told you everything, but let me see if we get more details. In a shocking incident in Kalinga, Tanzania, local church member Agnes has been taken into custody following the discovery of the decomposing body of her pastor, John Shira, which she had kept at his residence for 2 months, believing that the pastor would be resurrected from the dead. A convention that ultimately led her to preserve the body after his passing in early October 2024. So just, a month ago, almost 2 months ago. The alarming revelation came to light on December 3rd when Amos, chairman of the sub-village, stumbled upon the condition of the pastor remain. The event has left residents under a state of shock, grappling with the implication of such extreme belief and the limit of faith. Pastor Shira was regarded as a powerful religious figure, leading to the speculation surrounding his death and the subsequent preservation of his body. Authorities have begun an investigation following the discovery of the 70-year-old clergyman's remains, which has significantly decomposed, and the strong smell prompting local intervention. Residents of the village first expressed concern about the health of the pastor in October, because this man became very ill. He started coughing up blood and all of that, and then he refused to go to the hospital, and then he eventually did. So that the woman said, Agnes said, that her decision not to report the pastor's death, stating that he had claimed he will rest only temporarily before returning to life. Okay, that's what he said. And this woman is basically saying, I'm just doing what he told me to do. I just want the best for my pastor, basically. And she said, deeply convinced by his prophecy, Agnes began caring for the body as the pastor was still alive. And he eventually, he believed to be divine intervention for healing. He believed that there was divine intervention for healing. Like I said, which I still believe that God can make miracles, and that God does miracles and all of that. But this is, like I said, this is something, I'm trying to I already kind of explained you in the beginning. I think that, God knows the process of the body too. And I don't think, this is just my opinion. I'm being very careful what I'm saying. Like, a woman to stay with the body, I'm not trying to get too graphic here, but to keep the body that long, that's just, that was just an extreme, and something else was operating here. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So, there was another article that I wrote that says his family was looking for him to bring him food, and then they basically forced their way into the house and to the room that she had kept him. But I feel like, even so, like, I know, like, with a lot of people who are in ministry, there's always church members who want to help out and all of that. But it makes you wonder, like, where is the family that, like, for 2 months, they let this pastor be with this woman, like, because she wanted to care for him, and, like, they were not really checking on him and all of that. I had to have, eventually, when they went and searched for him, and the local authorities, and the residents in the village, because of the smell and all of that. And that's how they eventually found out. And she's basically, she's saying that he said he was gonna just rest temporarily, and he was going to eventually resurrect. Maybe he was talking about resurrecting in heaven with Jesus, right? And I don't know. Like I said, definitely something else was operating here. Let me know, guys, what you think about this. I know this is not the first case. This is as crazy as this story is that did happen. This is not the first case, This is not the first case. I think death is part of all of human life, right? One day that's going to happen to everybody who's alive right now. So I think that sometimes, we, let me try to say, it's almost like getting sick and all of that. Like, we're humans, right? So trying to, like, to say, there was the Bethel Church, I think it was, that created this week revival, hoping and praying and, like, believing that God is going to resurrect a child that had passed or something like that. That happened, I don't know how many years ago, not too long ago. And there was people worshiping 24/7 all of the time. People were like, can you believe what happened in Bethel Church and all of that? I think it was Bethel Church. I might be mistaken. I don't remember the name. It was very, like, viral thing that happened. And then, nothing, nothing. The child didn't, it wasn't resurrected. I think it was, they were praying for a child to be resurrected. That didn't happen. And sometimes, here's the thing though, just as much as we pray to God for things to happen, we also have to accept the will of God, right? And like I said, this is also something for that is, at some point, so it's coming for all of us who are alive, right? And sometimes, we don't accept when bad things happen, but that's what faith is also, is knowing that whatever is happening is, it's the will of God too, right? And just accepting it like that. Let me know, guys, what you think about this. I know it was very graphic, and just even reading, like, the title of it could be very graphic, but you can definitely tell that something else was operating here. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Have a good day. God bless.